Some people disappear in eclipses, like, so you read, right? They'll be like, don't go outside because of so-and-so, and this and that could happen. Don't make an astrological talisman because this will get you and it'll backfire in your face. Unless you're using it for nefarious purposes. Or a fellow colleague of mine in Turkey, Barish, amazing astrologer, Barish İlhan, wrote a post today how back in the day, the astrologer to the royalty, they would create a substitute king just for during the eclipse in case something were to happen. So they would have a new temporary king because they were so freaked out by the eclipses. And then after the eclipse passed, the old king would come back and they would sacrifice the temporary king. So you could do that this week if you're that much into freaking yourself out. What does it say on the screen? Oh, that's loud, Nicholas. That is loud. What does it say on the screen? It says Weekly Astrology, March 9th to the 16th. Eclipse me, quote unquote. Because last night when I was coming up with the title of this, I wanted to be eclipsed. I was like, well, then bring it on. Like ghosts from the past. Bring it on. Eclipse me. Eclipse that Virgo Pisces part of my chart. Eclipse the mutable part of me. Like, eclipse me. I want that. See, while everybody else is running away or getting caught up and whatever, I'm like walking towards it. So, hence the title. Eclipse me. And that's what's up with this stream. And I'm going to talk about those things and my face. I'll talk about the eclipse this week that happens here Thursday and Friday this week, along with some really interesting. I mean, it's always interesting, isn't it? It's just keeps going, right? Is there a pause button on the transits? Can you press pause? Can you reset? Extra rinse? Can you extra rinse again? Like can we program a longer drying period? So these are the things that again, it's an interesting week, and if you're a person that's into astrology and it's studying at whatever level, you got to dig this week. I mean, just for what happens, 4 different interesting aspects, the eclipse itself, and then what keeps going. These are not boring times. It's never boring. But if you need to make it boring, you do that for yourself. You make it boring. And actually, if you were to take anything from my vocal cords today, it would be to make it boring. And this week, and if later on in a week, if you happen to be one of these people who are directly affected by the eclipse and the degree and some of these mercurial situations and all that kind of stuff, make it boring if you can. When it seems riled up and fired up, can you stop? Can you stop at the moment? Like, I just want boring. I just want it simple, actually. Well, what did Nicholas say on his Instagram reels or his Pisces new moon video, the last one he did? Didn't he say, what did he say? To trust yourself, know where you're going, and that during all of the next March and the April that things might go into pieces. But if you know your vision, you know what you want, you know where you're going, you'll just have to maneuver through the next month and a half. You'll know the pieces to take out and the pieces to keep, and you keep going on that vision of yours that you already know about. Is it instinctual knowing? Is it intuitive knowing? Or is it the combination of the two, of how you deal with survival instincts and what you do from those places, and what you do from the intuitive place, right? The bigger story, the bigger long haul story, the bigger vision. And then there's the immediacy, right? The instinctual, the fight or flight. And what is that to you? What is it from the Pisces part of your world? And what is in the Aries part of your world? And this is a story. But you know what I like, before I look at the chat, I like that Mercury's at the heart of all this. And I always will praise that planet, that entity, that force, that androgynous something that could do anything that it wants. And in the end, likes to pull rabbits out of their hat constantly. And if you're in tune with something like that, and if you know that, and you know how to roll with the flow of rabbit pulling out of hats, I like that, then the messages become clear, right? And that is what some say, or what they'll call, magic. Hi, chat. Hello. Let me take a look here. We got Mila first in. KP1231. Hello. Blackthorn and Kevin. Another name change. Another combination dual name change here. I'm saying hello. Patrick Carrick says, what do they say? Eclipse me, baby. One more time. You know, like Britney needs any more transits in her life. She's got a massive Saturn story always. If you want to go look at something, when you want to learn about Saturn and what it does in the charts, go look at Britney Spears' life and just follow Saturn transits and you will see it. And mind you, we got a Sagittarius right there who's actually getting Jupiter in the world, mutable transits. Anyway, good to see you, Patrick, who's a channel member. Thank you. GME, hello, good to see you. Bias Bev with a message retracted, which actually could be the story for some of you during the Mercury retrograde, Mercury in Aries here this week. If you don't make it boring, you might be going, oh shit, I wish I could retract my message. You could do that on chat, here, and on IG messages if you catch it. But there's sometimes you press the button, it goes. Sometimes you say something and it goes, and you can't retract that shit. They heard it. They did it. Where's the edit button? Scorpio 6 Astrology. Hello, Laura Fisher. Hi to you. Hey, let's just get this up on the screen here, and let me make my chat box big. What do I have here? Bias Bev. Oh, that's what they go message retracted, and then Bias Bev says, "Mi amor." What did you say the first time? Esmeralda. Eclipse me. Yeah, it sounds like a pop song. Good to see you here, Esmeralda. James Sanders, what's up? Kay Michelle is in here. Barris Tugay, hello to you. And Ray Faye 20. Boring sounds great. Yeah. I think Britney, should we find Britney Spears' chart? I think I have actually. Shit, man. This is how we do, right? Is this how we do? Is this how we do this here? Is this, let me see right here. Let me see. Britney Weirdo Spears. Why do I have two charts? I have two charts. Oh, it's yeah, that one we'll pick. And that's Britney's chart. Hey, let's go there. And there's Britney's chart. Mars and hey, well looky here, Britney Spears. We're starting off the stream with you in an impromptu chart pull for Britney Spears. Now, before I go here, let me say something here to chat and finish. GME's here. Sherry Berry. Nestle, good to see you. Yeah, it has been a bit. I can't even begin to tell you what my last 3 weeks has been, and I won't tell you. Juliana, hello. Gemini Rising is here from Northbrook, Ohio. Hopefully I get some people in Europe who are up late. I doubt it, but you never know. Denise Rossthorn, hey, I'll release the Kraken. Eclipse my South Node. Yeah, that's it. That's the attitude. Hell, okay, Britney Spears, we're in you. We're like, we ended up here, so we'll just do it really quick. Britney has a Mars at 23 degrees Virgo. That's where the eclipse is this week. The full moon, we're going to have the lunar eclipse, right? That's what we have. Interesting. We have a north node in Cancer, 29 degrees. Guess where Mars is right now? All right. The second, their Venus here too. See, they got a situation going on here with the battling behind the scenes, probably again with like Saturnian structures of responsibility. Who are the conservators of a state? This crazy stuff. This person's always had to deal with Saturn issues their whole life. That's why I say do stuff with their Saturn. And they're about to get into a massive Saturn square in the next couple years. Saying that, and we have massive Sagittarius placements, which have been affected by Jupiter. All right, Britney, you got a 23-degree Mars. We see you. Oh, Britney. Let's put it here. And since we're doing this, I can't believe we're starting to stream this way. I was somewhat... Oh, no. Actually, I'm doing... the chart on the outside here was supposed to be a surprise, so we're not going to talk about that yet. But it actually affects Britney's chart. But we're going to go into... what are we going to do? We're going to go into here. Why did I do this chart here? It's because somebody Patrick did a Gemini thing and changed the lyrics to a Britney song that led us here. That led us here, okay? So here's, on the outside, here is the eclipse. And and there it is. The moon at 23, and there's Britney's Mars. Okay, I haven't looked to see what's going on lately. I don't follow her profiles because it's scary, just to be honest. But let's just note this for the stream, and let's pay attention. In the next so many weeks, and from 6 months from now, when we do the eclipses again, let's see if a Britney story really pops up, okay? So, BB Densler in chat, Black Moon Jesus is here. Both of you. Hi, Isha, who's a channel member. 11T Levity says the Neptune in her fourth square Mars looks like gross stuff in her childhood. Possibly. We have a Mars-Neptune person in general. I did a whole lecture on Britney Spears 2 years ago somewhere. It was my first public lecture. It was okay. But anyway, I did it on Saturn phases, trines, all this stuff. And so I know Britney's chart and Britney's interesting thing. Again, you want to do Saturn work and learn phases of Saturn, whether it's squares, oppositions, trine, sextiles in someone's life, you can use Britney Spears as an example because it's so clear at certain points in her world what happens with Saturn transits, okay? So saying that, I want to say hi to Dora Destroy in chat too. That's not the way I wanted to start the stream with Britney Spears, but we did. We did, didn't we? We did. All right. I think I said hi to everybody in chat. Who else do I got here? I got a bunch of people watching. I see you out there wherever you are in internet land on a 70-inch TV, okay, or on mobile, which most people watch as mobile. You're on your laptop. You're on a desktop with 3 screens in front of you like me. What other services do we watch through? You're at the drive-in where they're broadcasting this live stream in front of like 200 people to drive-in before they go see the movie. They're prepping themselves for the movie. Can you imagine that if I did a live stream out at a drive-in? Yeah. So Mario Duran says she's literally dancing next to a fire in today's news. Oh my God. Mystery Cat number 9, R.I.P. Britney. That's an interesting take. We will just say that. Anyway, can't believe we started with Britney. Wake Me From This is in chat too. All right, listen, do I have a chat goal? All right, let's, I have to do something with my live chat in front of me here. And, yeah. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put something in chat here for those there, because this is on my mind. Okay. It's going to pull up here in a second. This is for people watching or in chat right now, or those who want to jump in. You don't have to say anything, chat, but you can go to this poll that's in the chat. Mercury or Saturn? What would you take? Let's just say you were going to take a planet. You had to pick a planet. You had to pick a planet to be for the next month and a half, 2 months. Let's just say. Would it be Mercury or Saturn? I got my reasons. I have my reasons why I'm doing that. All right, let's do this. I'm going to talk about the week's transits. I'm going to start off with the 10th through 11th. I will say that I started the stream here purposely as a moon in Leo and not to do it with a moon in Cancer. I was in that zone. I was going to do it earlier with the moon in Cancer, but we had enough of that, enough of that moodiness, enough of the insights actually that came this weekend with the moon in Cancer. Conjunct Mars, bringing up the Mars and Cancer story and how that retrograde turned out for many of us. We got some of the information this weekend because the moon and Mars were conjunct. They also were squaring Venus in Aries and Mercury in Aries. Emotional stuff this weekend, but did people learn anything during a Mars retrograde that happened at the end of last year all the way till recently? And I think this past weekend, some of you who were affected by the Mars retrograde in Cancer should have had some clues and maybe applied some of the things that you've learned here with this. Now, is this separate from everything else that we're going to talk about this week? I don't think it is, because Mars right now is ruling the Mercury and Venus and Aries story here, and will, even when it goes back into Pisces. So take notes, make notes of this weekend, all right? All right, so saying that, Bangela's in chat says Saturn hurts but can bring greater rewards. That is the spirit. I should end the stream right now. That's it. That's a lesson. You know what? Why do any other astrology? Just if you just said Saturn hurts but can bring greater rewards to yourself every day, then you accept things. And then you still do things. And what I just said is key actually to this eclipse, and I will get to that. So, all right, let's do this. Today is the 9th. Some of us sprang an hour forward. We sprang an hour forward today, which I cannot stand the time zone change here in the United States. I know they got to get rid of this thing. It's my opinion. It don't save any time. It's like I lose light in the wintertime on the Pacific Coast. It's like, don't do this to me. So anyway, we sprang forward today, and the clocks went forward. We went into a moon in Leo at 3:58 p.m., and we are doing moon opposite Pluto right now, applying. The moon is going to take some of what it caught in Cancer into Leo, and it's going to vibe with Mercury and Venus and fire sign and Aries here tomorrow. When we get to the 11th, we will get to the 11th here. I just jumped right in, didn't I? We get to the 11th. We have such an important space here, an important aspect here, and that's Mercury and Venus, a Mercury-Venus conjunction that happens at 3:54 p.m. Pacific. Okay, so recently Venus has gone retrograde, going backwards. If for the last so many months, if you've been paying attention, Mercury's been the planet bringing up the transits at the rear. All the other planets have been like moving forward, and Mercury's the last planet to come through everything else the other planets did, right? Now we have the first space here where Mercury's catching up to a planet because it's going backwards, Venus, here with the conjunction here on Tuesday. So this is very important because... for several reasons. I think, or I've been saying this on some of my streams and my stories. You follow me on Instagram, you see my little quips on there, that I think Mercury's the planet, the secret planet in all this. Now, does it mean I'm going to pick Mercury in the poll? I don't know yet, or I won't say. But speaking of the poll, I'll get to that in a second. I will also want to say, BB Densler with a super chat. Thank you for super chat. No time change for me in Arizona. Yeah, maybe I should move there. I hear it's hot and sunny in the summertime, like just a little bit hot. just a little. So saying that, speaking of hot, we have this Mercury-Venus conjunction. Now, if you appreciate mercurial functions, then you'll know that the first word that shall pop in your mind is trickster. That's what you should get here, because that's the base core function. It will use anything in its trick bag to get the messages across, or to set up situations in the moment when you don't think it's doing anything, and later it comes back, because it actually literally will come back. But if you appreciate the trickster quality of Hermes, the messenger of the gods, then I think there's superb insight here. If Mercury and Venus are going to get together and have a conversation in Aries, what would you think it would be? Right? I'm just going to go off the top of my head. I'm just going to say, you know what I want? I've been sick of the situation I'm in. I've been waiting for a year and a half, and I've been taking the steps to, because finally I'm sick of doing shit for everybody else. I'm going to do it for me. And something calling me, and I get to do it now, But not only that, I want to look good doing it. And what do you think, Venus? Are you down with this? And Venus and Aries is like, I feel you. I like the way you're talking to me. Keep talking to me that way. Keep talking to me. And as a matter of fact, at that point, Mercury in Aries pokes Venus and Aries, almost like a loving shove into the shoulder. And Venus and Aries gets turned on, I think, a little bit with something like that. And there's that. So they're having this conversation because they're looking out for Aries. They're like, we're going to do this. And fuck everybody else. As a matter of fact, we're at 8 degrees, and they're both trying to figure out. They can't really see the big picture of it all, right? And if they did see the big picture, what was ahead of them, they would know that in 3 weeks, they might pay the price right now with what they're saying. And what I mean by that is the eclipse we have, the second one, not the one this week, but the second one we have, it's at this degree. It's at 8 or 9 degrees. Okay, so there, you see it up there. Okay, anyway, we're jumping ahead. Mercury's jumping ahead. Aries is jumping ahead. But there's something bigger to all this. It's the last year and a half of eclipses that have happened here and in Aries. And it's like, not only do these two know what they want, they'll do anything for it in the moment, and they have been. And the interesting thing is here, this is good. We like this. But there's a crash and burn element here too. And, I think Venus in Aries is somewhat oblivious here because it's slowing down. Mercury always knows what the hell is going on, even if it's acting dumb, even if it's acting stupid, along with, acting naive here with Venus and Aries, right? So they're talking, and Mercury's pumping Venus and Aries up, actually. He's like, you know what? Yeah, you're going to get it. You're going to do this, and you're going to go now, and da-da-da. No one's going to get in your way. You're unstoppable, and use new terrain, new everything for you. You've been working on this for a year and a half with eclipses, everything else, and you've even paid some Chiron price in your life. Whatever the case is, you're going to get it. You're totally going to get it. And little do you know, or did you figure out that you're going backwards, though? So that doesn't make any sense if you're wanting to go now. Love hard, love fast now. Buy this, get that. Resources now. You are actually going backwards. But you don't know that. I'm going to say you go for it now. Yeah, you do that, Venus and Aries. You go. You get it. You get it. And hence, the trickster has Venus and Aries on the hook, on the leash. If Venus and Aries didn't figure this out by now, they're going to figure it out sooner or later. But sometimes we need to be tricked. Sometimes we need to spit fire and say crazy things and put ourselves out there. The message, we have to do it. But in the Venus and Aries way, I won't get into classical archetypes. I'm just saying Venus and Aries loves hard, fast, now. Picks you. The Venus and Aries, when they like you, they not only like you, they're picking you. They're like, not only do I like you, you're mine. We're together, okay? I'm deciding we're together, okay? So anyway, there's this going on, and Mercury plays the game here. And these two planets will be running side by side in their interesting dance here all the way into April, when they both at some point are going to be retrograde. Mercury will do it too, and they are the players. And you can see how Mercury here is huge here. There's a message. Even before we hit the eclipse this week, there's a powerful message being thrown here by Mercury. Trickster, clear or clear or not, it's there. So saying that, and we keep track of this because the eclipse later this week is in Virgo, the full moon in Virgo, and Virgo's ruled by what planet? The charming, beautiful, sparkling, mutable metamorphosis magician, Mercury. Okay, so saying that, that's what we have here on Tuesday. We have Mercury-Venus conjunction at 3:54 p.m. Take note. 8 degrees here. We are taking note for several reasons. 9 degrees is the eclipse in a couple weeks here when we have the final eclipse in Aries. Okay, both these planets are going to hit these degrees again several times during the retrograde movement. So if you're a person that has cardinal degrees at this spot, or it's something predominant in your chart, I would take note. And I'll be done with this part. And on a bigger note, we make a big futuristic poll here. Okay, and the reason is as we know right here, we know Saturn and Neptune are going to go into Aries here. Neptune's going to go into 0 degrees Aries at the end of the month, March 30th, I think it is. March 30th. Saturn will go into Aries. It's May 24th. They will play the game at 0 degrees. They will go forward and come back. And eventually next year, these two big planets will be moving forward in Aries, and slowly over the years and next year and the 2 years, and Neptune's going to take forever, they're going to hit these 8 degrees Aries place. Okay, and other planets will too. And if you want to do deeper research on this, which I've been doing, you could go take a look at this. This really affects you if, again, you have this 8-9 degree placement cardinal. Okay, so Nazreen in chat, hello, welcome. Astro Stephanie's here too. All right, and if any of you join in here who are watching at your local movie theater, if only with popcorn in hand. All right, so we have that. I have so much more I could say about the Mercury Venus thing, but I'll probably come up. So anyway, let's get to that. We're going to go to the next day. And here I'm going to go back some hours here because don't play with Mercury, people. Don't mess around. Don't mess around here, okay? Let me switch through here. I'll pick this moment. Oh, shit, I got it right on the dot when I did this. See, Mercury's guiding me right now. Here, the moon, when we get to Wednesday morning Pacific time early, moon goes into Virgo. Now we're getting into it. Now moon's going to be in Virgo before we get to the lunation later in the week. And the eclipse, we're in Mercury land again. Mercury ruled Virgo here, so we're paying attention to Mercury right here. Always you see Venus. Mercury's moving ahead, by the way. So Mercury moved up a degree from 8 to 9 degrees, okay? But the big thing here, because we got this side story. We know the story that we just talked about. But the thing here, I'll just pick green, is here. We have a Saturn, our yearly Saturn-Sun conjunction that happens at 3:28 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesday, March 2nd. Now, I have to do call to actions. People, in some of my people who watch out for me, they want me to do well in my life and to keep doing this. I'm going to do a call to action right now that everyone who's going through a Saturn return right now, if you feel like you need some clarity, get a session with me. I love doing Saturn return work, Saturn work in general. For many people you know, Saying that, if you happen to be a person who's got Saturn placements around 22, 23 degrees, you're at your first Saturn return. You're at your second Saturn return. If you want to do your third Saturn return, you know a lot more than I do. I don't think there's anything I can help you with. So saying that, we have this positioning where Saturn here and the Sun get together. And this goes back to the beginning of the stream when I mentioned, and let me see if I can find who it was that had the Saturn quote. And it was Bangala said, Saturn hurts, but can bring greater rewards. And in transits like this, from my experience in my own life, and by the way, Saturn's been squaring my Sun here for the last so many months. It's finally moving away. I'm not done with that. So I could speak to this. A moment like this, a moment where Sun, Saturn are together, is like the biggest clarity, one of the biggest clarity moments one can get if it's affecting their chart. Okay, but it's the type of clarity where I don't think it's 100% like, oh, that's an amazing piece of revealment. I think it comes with some bruises and some. It's the massive reality check, actually. And if one can take a step in a Saturn story, if it's challenging or tough, and know, now in this case, what happens Tuesday with Sun Saturn is revealing, like, this is the playing field that you're on. This is the reality that's this. This here is in this place working, and this doesn't work, or you've been trying. And if one can take a view, why do they even have the word objective in our vocabulary? Because there is no such thing ever. If I was going to look at a chart and I say, oh, I'm going to take my objective view about the so-and-so chart, but you can't take an objective view. You can't 100%. Rant over. So saying that, can you step out? Can you step out and look at a Saturnian situation in your life? Well, let's say you're a Pisces and you have these degrees and you're having a Saturn return, and can you look at just what is around you, in you, everything? And can you step out, even if it's sore, even if it's hardcore, and can you go, can you accept it? Can you be like, I will not resist this reality. I acknowledge this reality for all that it is. And so basically, that is a moment that we have here on Wednesday when we have a Sun-Saturn conjunction here. And, it's kind of cool that we get to have something like this, considering what's about to happen, right? With eclipses, Mercury retrogrades, all this stuff. And this goes into what I'm saying from the Piscean version of things, of understanding a vision, a sign that's Jupiter ruled. Currently Jupiter in Gemini, that's ruled by Mercury here. So you catch the messages since last May. And can you understand? And this ties into the Jupiter-Saturn square that we've done in mutable signs from Saturn in Pisces to Jupiter in Gemini, right? I'll point that out. Here, Jupiter's at 13 degrees. We want to pay attention when Jupiter actually gets to 22 degrees Gemini, because it'll square this point. And it's a little check marker down the line. If everybody's been doing the work and accepting the reality, then here, Jupiter in Gemini, and I could pull up when that is. I'll pull up when it hits. What are we looking at? 22 degrees? We're going to see that Jupiter hits 22 Gemini, it looks like on the week of May 4th. So a key moment here happens with Sun Saturn. Jupiter rules Pisces. Look to May 4th. There is a connection to this point. I think you get the picture of what I'm saying. Can you do the big picture visionary Jupiterian Pisces thing and know the whole picture of what you want to do and where you want to go? And it's not like material practical shit. I'm talking about like your code, what you live by, what is at the heart of you, and your connection to the universe and why you're here, and these things. And then getting to that whole point, and if you let yourself go there, then can you actually let yourself go there? as in I accept everything and nothing. I accept, not only from a Saturnian view, but from the Pisces way of accepting and trusting the mystery and the unknown in life to guide you. It's that kind of knowing, that kind of thing. That's the big picture that I'm talking about, right? So we have this moment here, and we know there's more coming to hit this point, which I will show you are points closest to this in the next several weeks, and I'll get to that. Again, we want to deal with reality and have an acceptance and acknowledgement of reality here with Sun Saturn. And if you find yourself resisting, I don't blame you. By the way, if you do that, know why you resist. Know why. Know why you fear. In the description of this live stream, I said weekly astrology live stream covering the transits from March 9th to 16th. Start making friends with Saturn, because the only thing to fear is, and I wrote, astrology grifter propaganda. So hence, we take a break in this stream for me to say something that is not the first time I'm going to say it. Life is a bitch. Life is chaos. That's it. And then we manage. And then when it's not chaotic and it's not a bitch, it's enhanced. Life is work. Life is brutality. Life is this life. It's not all that all the time, but it's an acceptance. Like, you know this. It can't be candy all the time. And then we find ways to disconnect because it's overbearing. It's too much. Or we don't have the answer. Whatever it is, I ain't judging you, but let's just be real. Saturnian real. Now, in those situations out there that are a bitch, quote unquote, are difficult, one fears outcomes or potential things or whatever you fear, or to move through situations of pain, of challenge. We fear. It hurts. Or we're used to being in a place and we know something has to change. We fear the potential outcomes. We potentially lose our comfort zones. There's many ways this could happen, especially if life is hard and then you find you found places where you feel like at least grounded so you could breathe through the goddamn day, right? So, but again, the world is nutty right now. It's always been nutty though. But these days, it's enhanced. Why am I saying this to you? I said, start making friends with Saturn, because the only thing to fear is astrology grifter propaganda. You notice out there, especially the last 3 weeks, it's been even heightened more. Buy this, do that, sell this, buy this. You're scared. You're this. We're fucked. You're fucked. Venus is in detriment in Aries. It's blah, blah, blah, blah, blah. The eclipse is coming, blah, blah, blah. Run for the fucking hills. Buy this, though. There's a new world order. The timeline jumping, blah, blah, blah. But buy this. No fear. That's what I'm saying to you. You accept the playing field that you're on. You accept it. And when you do, and you sit with it from your view, you see what you have to do to alter situations. Even if it's something you don't know how to do or you were in fear of that, know that by stepping out and looking, you could find within yourself or whatever help you need out there to help you move through. The key is who you're choosing and what and the intentions behind it. Is it because someone has got the right combination of Pantone fucking color on their slides, on their carousel post, and the way that they fucking configured the artwork and the wording that they use, or it's some shit on TikTok that you saw that just grabbed you, that hit you emotionally, that kind of came in and grabbed you, and you're like, this is it, I gotta do this because we're fucked, I'm fucked. And that is the grifting that I'm talking about. And I said this. I made a video on this a year ago. It was my Aries Eclipse video. And I talked about this. And now, all you got to do is look and see. It's not a surprise. But I'm saying to you out there is do not get caught up in the grift. And if you feel that you as a practitioner, an astrologer, tarot card reader, you find yourself making those types of posts or doing these kinds of things or this kinds of messaging, I would question that. I would question it long term too, of what not only do to you, but what it potentially does to other people. So for me, it's like, that's what I wanted to say on this stream. Part of it, I had to say it and say it again, is because I've seen it so many, and even people that I know, even people that I would consider colleagues, I see it. And I see the hyped up shit every day with a certain type of post. I see the ramping up, this thing where it's like everyone's fucking nerves have been blasted out fried from the last so many years. And it's just like hook, line, and sinker. I'm going to throw this fucking cast my reel out there and I'm going to package it up this way and I'm going to get you. And boom. But here's the crazy thing. I've been talking to a lot of people in the industry. Shit is slow right now. The money is not there like it has been through COVID and coming out of there. Social media is changing. Everything is oversaturated. So many people trying to be astrologers or esoteric whatevers. So many people peddling their wares. And not only that, the coin is tight. The economics are messed up. We got potential wars going on or more going on, and here it is. And everyone's fighting for that one coin, and they'll do anything for it. So, for me, I have to say this. Check yourself and check what's going on out there. And whether I'm going to lose people ranting on this stream right now that are watching. They're like, I just want to hear the transits of the week. I just don't. Fine. I don't. You know how I roll here. But I want you to check this because this goes into a bigger thing down the line of how you stand in the world when it connects to your intuition. And then when it comes to moving through things, the healing and who you choose to bring into your world and the reasons why, and really check your nervous system. Now, this is when I bring it in. You check your instincts, your fight or flight to see what the hell's going on. If you're biting on something out there that's catching you, you're catching the post and getting reeled in. That's the instinctual fight or flight. And then you take the intuitive part, the bigger picture that I talk about from the Piscean point of view of where you stand with your heart. Where you want to go, how you would like to do it. You want to do it a certain way, you go do it a certain way. But if you're looking, just pay attention out there. And it's shit's going to get ramped up even more. This whole couple weeks of eclipses, we're going to go through a massive summer in the Northern Hemisphere that could be rambunctious. Everything. Please, people. Please. And if you're out there, you don't have to do things that way. You don't have to. There's plenty of money to go around for everybody else, even though it's tight. There's plenty of ways to do things. Find the creative ways, heartfelt ways of selling your wares. You know what I mean? And if you're on the other end, it's 2 a.m. and you got a bottle of wine in you and you're in tears, and then you booked a reading. Okay. Maybe check it. Maybe just wake up in the morning, have some coffee, and then contemplate whether you should do whatever it was, because in that moment you were feeling so intense. I want to thank Juliana Sari for a super chat. You got it. The first one on my channel. Cheers to you. It's yellow. James Sanders. James, thank you again for a super chat. All right. So saying that, looking at your comments, I want to welcome anybody in chat here. I didn't see from Lisa Mann to Astrologer Mackenzie. Good to see you here, Mac. Maxima Rising, Lisa Mann. There's my rant. Heather London is here. Aaron Dosh, right on. Okay, this is the point where I come in and sell my course, right? I'm joking. All right, let's keep going. Rant done. All right, so as Mercury moves along and we get past the Sun-Saturn clarity conjunction that's going to happen on a Wednesday, then we hit Britney Spears' chart? No, but Britney Spears' chart will be affected by this lunar eclipse that's going to happen here at 11:54 p.m. March 13th. It's really happening at March 14th for the whole world. It's just 6 minutes before midnight. Wait, what's the Iron Maiden song? 2 minutes? 2 minutes to midnight? Anyway, so saying that, let's go. Let's do it. Here is 23 to... Oh, we got green. I got to go back to here. Even though green's good. If I had a black chart, green would pop out. Here's 23-degree mutable moon in Virgo opposite the sun at 23 degrees. Next step. Virgo is ruled by what planet? Good old Mercury here. 9 degrees. Let's point out in this software, there's a little S right here. If you can see it or not, you're on mobile. That's an S. We'll get into that. It's not snake. Even though snakes and Mercury, you know what I mean? So anyway, so saying that, next time I go to Australia, I need to run into a snake. I just missed one in a bush. It was just there. I didn't get to see it. And I'm wanting a snake. I want to cross paths with a snake really bad. Not poisonous snake. So saying that, there's 9 degrees Mercury in Aries that is ruling this Virgo eclipse. Now, usually when there's full moons, the shadows are exposed, right? Things are harvested out. Everything's come to fruition or to the open. I think it still happens in something like this, even though the moon gets blocked out, right? And I think it's intensified, that kind of thing. For me, if we stick to the Virgo basic words, we're going to deal with daily activities and routines, a mutable earth sign that has the penchant and the gift for creating many systems in our life to run efficiently, right, in the material world. And by creating these little things in this little way and having the penchant to figure out those puzzles and to make them more efficient, we get by, we do things, right? And this is tied into anything and everything in our lives. But let's say that you kept tweaking. You kept tweaking, and it still wasn't it still wasn't moving. It still wasn't doing that. And like, what happens? What happens? You ask any Virgo. Ask any Virgo, most of them, especially if they got Mars or Mercury in Virgo, they will tell you the truth. You just got to catch them at the right mutable time, right? You got to catch them the right time. And when they're not in it and they feel like everything's somewhat balanced, they'll tell you how they beat themselves up because the systems they create are not working, and how they actually turn that on themselves and then just stop. They just can't stop trying to fucking maneuver and make it right. I got to do this. I got to do that. And here is the type of vibe that can happen here with an eclipse like this with the moon in Virgo. And if it is ruled by Mercury, who with this S means stationing, which means it's stationing retrograde, it's stopping, and it's in Aries. Venus is in Aries wanting to push forward. It can't, it's going backwards. Now Mercury's stationing to go backwards, and then Moon in Virgo is trying to make it right. Trying to put the puzzle pieces together. And let's say they're not even doing it for themselves. They have a tendency to do it for other people. They're trying to help and serve other people constantly, or a situation or whatever. And everything's trying to move forward and they can't. And then there's an eclipse. For me, at the South Node here, it tells me that you can't tweak anymore. As a matter of fact, can you take the metaphorical tool that's in your hand to adjust, and can you drop it like out of your hand? Like, can you let it go? Can you just like, I can't do it right now. I can't do it right now. I can't actually. this is a moon south node story. And if I was born with a person that had a planet conjunct my south node, not only can I not do it anymore, this is a work in progress my whole life. So think about anybody who's going to be born here. They're going to have moon south node Virgo here. They got a story going on at home with parental figures, mom, some lineage thing that's going on where wounds are getting carried over because of the expression of emotions that has to do with verbal and like being separated from their mind and their emotional core itself, and always trying to serve, always trying to work it, but then like completely losing themselves in their mind because they're constantly serving. But what about them? And then there's these big outbursts and lashes because then they feel like people don't see them, they don't appreciate them for what they do. And the mind just goes. And the mind just goes. And can you drop that? Can you let go of that? Can you go to the other side of the polarity? Can you go to the Piscean world and trust everything and nothing? Can you trust that everything is going to be just the way it will be, should be? Can you not fuck with it anymore, at least temporarily? And so on a bigger thing here, we have Mercury stationing retrograde, wanting to push an agenda, right, to go. It's shooting fire out of its mouth on purpose, and then it rules this. Now, just that alone, you can see how difficult it is. But let's just say there was another person in the operatic story, and it was this guy. It was Saturn, the person we talked about who brings reality just 24 hours before, just sitting there still. It doesn't go away. As a matter of fact, Saturn never goes away, does it? It never does. It's always there. It's on your shoulder. It's in your head. It's tattooed on you. Immortality in the clock ticks. The clock ticks. Mortality, reality. This is what you must do. This is what you must be. This is your responsibility. And that responsible planet is opposite this moon. And there's a reality check going on here. So if you don't catch it earlier in the week, and you haven't been catching it, you Virgos and you Pisces people, you Virgos especially, you haven't been catching it since last, well, I'll get into last someone. I'm going to pull a chart up here. You're going to see what I'm talking about. Saturn's in the mix here. And it depends on your relationship with Saturn, how you'll take something like this. But there's no way out. And if it is affecting you, and if you are a mutable person that has these degrees and you're in the mix, know that something has to stop, and at least stop to be evaluated. Do I say to take the next step and to eliminate it, to purge it out, which Virgos are really good at doing when they know what it is. They know where the bad part is in the engine that's not functioning. They know how to pull it out. If you're at that space, you go for it. Know that during the next couple of weeks, during the Mercury retrograde and all this stuff, that it's not going to be running on all cylinders. You're going to have to sit there and maybe pull the whole thing apart. And know that it won't even be done then, because 6 months from now, you'll be pulling it apart again. But if you're in tune with Saturn here and accepting what it is and letting go, hence to go back on my Sun Saturn in Pisces conjunction that happened, I think it can help you through this. So, as I said in the beginning of the stream, I would take this as a boring week. I would take it as a week to not push anything. And if you're in the mix and it's emotional and it's intense, make it boring. Stop. You don't even have to go stop and take a look at what it is. Just stop and take your time, if you can, at looking at a situation like this. A Virgo moon cannot help a lot of times to solve a situation. They're really good at it. But in this case, it could be to their detriment. It could throw them off. And if it's a deeper, longer story in their lives or in your own chart, this is not everybody, but in your own chart, this is the place to be like, I need to look and stop the routines. There's some of them are habitual that I've been doing that do not work anymore. The daily activities that I do, what time I eat oatmeal in the morning, maybe it needs to change. Maybe I need to add cinnamon to it. Maybe I need to take it out. Maybe I just need to stop. As any mercurial ruled sign does, and take a deep breath and accept Just that. Okay, so saying that, I haven't even looked at chat. I got a lot more to say to this. And let's do what I was going to say. As a matter of fact, what did I write here? We know that the eclipse happens here at 23 degrees Virgo. Okay. I want you to pay attention to this. We're going to move forward. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to the first week of May. You're going to see why I'm going to do this. And I think it's very important for you, those who are affected by this eclipse. The reason is here is, did I get this right? This eclipse happens at 23 degrees. I might have got this wrong. Hold on a second. 2025, 20. Oh, I think I know what I did. And let's see if it happens here. There it is. There it is. And here you could see on the week of June 9th, this particular chart here is June 9th of this year. You can see now that the North Node in Pisces has hit 23 degrees. You see the South Node here is at 23 degrees. If you were affected by this, this is a marker point that's going to happen in the beginning of June when the node actually hits the degree point of the eclipse. So saying that, on the outside of this chart is June 9th per se, right? You could see me pointing to 23 degrees, right? The node now is hitting the eclipse degree. Know that this particular moment in time is connected to this week in the eclipse cycle, okay? So that's a note for you. I wanted to make sure I did this. All right, let's go back. I'm going to show you some other particular points in time just because this is how I'm rolling on the stream, and it's going to be in the beginning of April. And why? Because we're going to look here and we see that Venus was going backwards all the way to 24 degrees, a degree away from where this eclipse is here on Thursday. And basically, that's where Venus is going to station forward and stop its retrograde motion, is on the eclipse degree. And, go through Saturn to do this. Saturn and Mercury are part of the game. Do you see what I'm saying here? Between April 6th and the 17th, Venus will be at 24 degrees Pisces for that amount of time. That is pretty much 8 or 9 days that Venus will be at this degree of where the eclipse is. So know, if you're affected, that these are chapters in the story that I'm telling you. We're going to continue with the chapters of the story, actually, because this is what I do. This is what I like to do. And it actually will be here. I wonder if I got the chart right. On the outside, oh, that's the new, I know what it is. I know, I'm off a lunation. Hold on a second. I'll let you see what I'm doing. It will actually be, no, that's not the one. Is it here? 46, no. 24. Wait, no, I had it up here. I had it in my list of charts when I was researching last night. 5, 6. Oh, there it is. And here on the outside, and I'm pulling up, this is September 17th of 2024. So it's last September where we had partial lunar eclipse that happened. And this time we are flipped. The full moon happened in Pisces, and it happened at 25 degrees. We could see the sun here last September at 25 degrees. You see what's happening here? If you are a person that's dialed in on these eclipses in your chart, you just got to go back to that period of time to get the clues and know where the story is and start to piece it together. And some of the other things I showed you when we go move in now, and the Mercury, the Venus retrograde story, when it comes back into Pisces at 25 degrees and it moves forward, all this stuff. And then all the way back into June, the upcoming June that I showed you, these are places for you to gauge the story and understand and to see how it evolves. This is all mercurial-based stuff too, So again, it's really easy to pinpoint stuff like this and to document it and to look. Sometimes people go look back at their transactions in their banking statements to their posts, to whatever, if you need clues into this, if you're affected by this, okay? And even back then, look at last September, we just had Mercury was in Cancer at that point. And look where Jupiter was. It wasn't retrograde yet, and it was at 20 degrees. And now, when we're at this point in time where the eclipse is, you could see that a lot of the players are involved, that Mars is in Cancer, Jupiter has to come back to that place, so on and so forth. I hope some of this is making sense. It's a lot of data. But you should take notes. Now, as a little bit of a helper, and I think Saturn in all this, if you accept the Saturnian story this week, actually can't be that intense being opposite the moon here. You know, it's just your relationship with Saturn, how it's working. Okay, so saying that, we got to say one more thing here. And Uranus is in this story. I know some of you are probably, I haven't looked at the chat and I will. Uranus is at 24 degrees here, and it is trining. And Uranus in Taurus is trining this moon and sextiling the sun. Now, I think it's a little bit of help here if you're in tune with Uranus in your life or it's very present in your chart. But for me, when we're dealing with a planet like Saturn compared to Uranus, Uranus works, but it's in an aspect of trine and sextile, so there's something to it. But the more domineering type of thing is going to be the Mercury stationing retrograde and Saturn for sure, as in the signatures and the characteristics of this eclipse. So do you have Uranus possibly helping you? Yeah, maybe. If it's exact in your chart, possibly. But now, is this a fucked eclipse? I think it's challenging, but I also think that you're lucky to have Saturn on the opposite side of this because it's always clear in what it does. I think it always shows you what you have to deal with or what the reality is, and it's mirroring a reality to the moon here in Virgo. And you know that Mercury stationing to go backwards, you can't push it. Go ahead, though. Go right ahead. And if you want to push it and you want to spit fire this week and you want to push some agenda and do whatever, just know why you're doing it and know that you're going to crash and burn. And if you can handle all that stuff, that's a way to work through things too. It's just many don't know what they're in the moment and they're doing things and they're not aware of that, and then you just learn the other way, as in the school of hard knocks way. So that's the deal. So anyway, that is some of my view. I wrote down here on my piece of paper here, and I will get to chat in a second. I wrote Mercury stationing, and this will get into Mercury retrograde that happens less than 20 or after that. Rules: accept and let Mercury guide you in the next several weeks. But at this moment, with Mercury in Aries, it's stationing and wanting to push. It could feel like everything's about to, the fire is hot. The iron seems like this is the time to do it. And again, it all depends on your perspective. You should go do it anyway. Just go do it. But know that the iron's not going to be hot, and that you have to deal with potential overheating and the type of stuff that happens when something burns a little too hot. It needs to, like, the engine needs to shut off. It needs to be cooled down. It needs to be settled here. And this is a major part of all this. And what happens after the eclipse is then basically, I'll show you. We'll do a, let me pull it up here, and that will just lead me to the next important transit, which is there. You see, I will pull it up here. Here is then not even. It's 12 hours later. No, it's 24 hours later that Mercury goes retrograde here on 14th on the Friday, and I'll show you right here. So 24 hours after the eclipse happens, Mercury's officially retrograde. Now you could see a little bit here of where now we're really backtracking. We're doing it now. Mercury and Venus now are both moving backwards. And that is why I'm taking the approach here of boring this week. And if you can't do boring, know the reasons why you spit fire and stir shit up. Know the deal with the consequences and the pieces wherever they fall. Know that you'll have to deal with that regardless. And if you got that straight, then you can stir it up. Just be nice. Just be nice. What else did I write here? I wrote, I won't get into that. But I also wrote something earlier. I said about this week with Mercury, I said, Hermes brings a future message through a Venus language. And what I mean by that is, when we started this stream on the 11th, I talked about the Mercury-Venus conjunction, which they're still conjunct. It's not like it happens mathematically, but look at, they're going to do this. They're together the whole time or the next several weeks. So basically Mercury and Venus are doing the dance together, but Mercury's got a message going back and forth with Venus. And if you can understand, and at least in the last week or two, and this week, if you see the future message here before the eclipse, if you get the little something, then take it and store it to the side. I know you'll want, for those who are Aries people, want to impulsively, instinctually act upon that raw, in the moment message. I know you can't help and do it, and you show us how to do it, thankfully. But can you at least stop and put it to the side? Because there's something there, and it has to do with how this storyline in your chart will, play itself out. It's just got to take your foot off the gas, okay? So there is that. So speaking of, in my chat, I am looking at the poll that I did here, and I said Mercury or Saturn, and it looks like Saturn at 56%. Look, you notice how it picked the color black there? Anyway, Mercury at 44%. I'm going to end that poll. They're kind of neck and neck, but Saturn is... Why am I surprised that Saturn's winning on this channel? I don't know why. Let me go look here at chat. Sorry, I am keeping up. I see you guys going back and forth. Are you being good to each other? Yes. Did I get everybody in here? Yes. Evault is in here. I see that. Yeah, Astro Stephanie looks like a malefic enclosure. Yes. The way I roll on this channel, I got my street way of talking about things. So saying that, we deal with Mercury retrograde here on Friday into Saturday. We will have a Libra moon at that point, and then we get into interesting stuff next week, as in we'll just take a quick look at it. We'll take a quick look at Monday of next week because it's pertinent to this. Here is Monday of next week, and we have officially the Sun conjunct the North Node in Pisces. Again, Pisces people out there, if you feel connected to anything and who I am or whatever, and you're thinking about something, message me, book something. I'm here for you, okay? Some of you are Saturn return people out there that I've even talked to, and you're doing a good job. But let me just say this. Let me just say this. All right. Let me just. I have my other rant about Sun Saturn with the grifting that's going on, right? And what I'm about to say isn't just astrologically based. It's just who I am. It's just my overall, something I needed to tell myself lately. Considering the world and the stories I hear, and then me as a practitioner, the stories I hear. You're doing good. It might not seem that way. But sometimes it's just the way we look at things. And I know that there are some of you out there where there's no way out. If you're watching this, even that situation, even if you're one of those people in that situation, you're doing good. Because you're looking, you're searching, you're trying to understand. Or if you're somebody else out there and you're like, well, I got to do this and I got this challenging thing. And then I said to you, I go, well, tell me then in the last couple of months, anything that you have felt proud of or that you have accomplished and pulled off. And most of the time, and I've been asking this question, most of the time, people will tell me the small things. Well, I did do this because the bigger things is a bigger storyline going on. It's not working, and it's creating a lot of stress in people's lives. And then they turn on the internet, or they go whatever, and they're dealing with all this other bullshit that's going on there. And then like you forget that little thing, those little accomplishments, that little thing even you pulled off earlier in the day. I got that bill paid. I had to run this errand. I had to get my kid to school. And I didn't think I could do it. It's traffic. I pulled it off. I got back and I sat down. I had my cup of tea and I at least got a couple hours. You pulled it off. Good job. You see what I'm saying? It's like it's what our fight or flight does these days compared to the culture that we're living in. It's a results-driven culture, right? But the way it's set up is like even if you were to accomplish something, it disappears within 2 seconds because the other thing comes in to override what you didn't do or what you need to do. And, this goes into then why I am more about slowing things down and being boring, because you, in that place, one becomes contemplative and thinks about a lot of things, but a lot of times in that place, you then slow down. You have nothing. There's no phone to look at. There's no whatever to compare it to. And it's in that place you're like, oh, I pulled that shit off. And like, good job, Nicholas. Like, good job, chat. Like, I started writing this piece for a blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, cool, nice, good job. That means you, in the moment of being creative, you had the spark, which is everything. Everything you do after that has its own time frame of what happens creatively and how it actually materializes in the physical world, right? Whether you're baking bread or writing a song on a piano. But initially, the spark that you had, that's it. That's the thing. Good job. Like that came through, that allowed itself through. It's like, those things at the times where it's so fucking intense. So it's something I've been telling myself. Now, trust me, I got a list over here fucking things I can beat myself up on. I was doing it last night. And I had to stop. And it actually had to do when I was looking at these charts. And I quiet my mind. And I was like, oh, I know I have to take care of these things. Some of them are challenging, but shit, I just did this, and this, and I made this cool video. Like I made this, I was looking in last night. I forgot I did a video with Mark Lawrence, and that's up on my channel that has to do with these nodes. I'll put the link up here. And I'm like, I did that in Australia. And I was like, we had a really good conversation on and off the camera. And like, I just was like reminded of that. I'm like, oh, not only did we send this really, I think, thoughtful way of looking at the nodes in Pisces and Virgo and the eclipse that's not fear-based, but it was genuine. I was there in the moment. It was, and it felt that way. And after we were done with the video, I was like, and it's a veteran. This is a cat I was talking to, runs this, he's got experience. And it was just like, oh, that was good. That was it. And so last night when I was tripping, I'm like, oh, we did that video. I had to watch my own video to go, oh, just like, that's some Gemini shit right there. It's the fullest, but there it was. And so for me, I told myself, and I wrote down on a piece of paper here, I go, whatever you're going to say tomorrow on this stream, whatever you're going to do, you'll be real, but you're not going to fearmonger. You don't do that. You're not going to grift. No, I don't do that. I'm going to call that shit out. But everything else, it was like, oh, make sure you say. Make sure you look into the camera and say, good work, good job for all those other things that you've done lately, considering the circumstances, right? So that's huge. And that type of thing, in the end, takes a little bit of the weight off. And not only that, leads you to a place. Let's say you did it in the mirror. You did it in the mirror. You go, I'm talented enough. Trust myself. And I'm prepared. Whatever order you want to do, whatever way you want to say it to yourself. I think I need to make a new slide in this series because I've been pulling the slides for the last year. I think the other slide is like, good job, Nicholas, or good job, everybody. That's my message for you this week, and always will be, right? So, There's a famous coach who passed away. He was coach of the Houston Rockets. His name was Rudy Tomjanovich or whatever. And he coached the Houston Rockets in the 90s. They had these interesting teams, you know. But there was a particular series that they weren't supposed to win. They were down and out. And they came back and they won. And on the mic, you could go find his video. It's just a quick snippet. He's like, you never underestimate the heart of a champion. And champions, people, we all have our shit. You can't operate constantly at this all the time. It's not 100%. But the journey in all that is knowing that the heart that you have, the will, the things that come to your heart to propel you. Yeah, you can pull shit off and get shit done. But part of being warrior, part of being champion too, is to be able to look at yourself and say, hey, I did that shit. I pulled that off. I'm good. I'm feeling pretty good. You walk out the door and you'll see it in other people too. And you'll run in to the person who was like you yesterday when you weren't seeing it. And if the opportunity presents itself, whether it's verbally or it's just an eye catching or whatever, and they're in that space where they don't see it, or they forgot about their accomplishments, or they're just in the other place, and you reflect that. See? It's these little things. When we get to the 20th of March and we get to that week, try something out for me, will you? We'll do the equinox. Right? We'll do the equinox. And then on the 22nd, we're going to do Sun-Venus conjunction. The middle of the Venus retrograde where we're going to have the Cazimi happen. And then on the 24th, we're going to do Mercury Sun conjunction. I don't know. For me, in the middle of retrogrades, in the middle of intense transits, and then we have these moments within 48 hours of Venus and Mercury. At those times, do whatever you want with it. But my suggestion to you is you tell yourself there again. Stick up for yourself. Acknowledge yourself. Good way. Heart of a champion. I want to thank GME for a super chat here with some crazy animation right here. That's awesome. GME, thank you for the super chat here. I'm looking through chat here. James Sanders, thank you. Says, so insightful as always. The big picture perspective is so important. It is, and it is when you're in the middle of the battlefield. And again, we're taking a break, but it is. And I think it's the story of all this Mercury thing, this Aries to Pisces thing, Pisces to Aries back movements. And when we get through this, when you get through it, then we're all running on all cylinders after all this. Everything's moving forward and it's moving fast. And we got to play a game this year with planets going into other signs coming back. But we know this whole year is about this. And when we get toward the end of the year, we know exactly. You're going. It's the new world, So anyway, James Sanders, thank you. I want to say, who am I missing here in chat? I see Jane in here. Fluid structure. Right on. Scorpio Muse. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you here, Scorpio Muse. Evalta's here. I look at these after. Black Moon Jesus. Thank you for being here. Zara Ismail, thank you for this. You're welcome. If you're referring to me. Leanne Patterson, what's up? Patrick says, call that shit out for $11.99 a month. Yeah, I could. I could do that. Pay me, I'll rant. Dale Dobson, good job patting yourself on the back, people. And yeah, you got it, Juliana. I'm looking at what you have in chat here. Hey, Andrea, good to see you here. I got my fellow Greek friend here. Andrea's here. Hey, Megan, good job too. Some more of my channel members are here. Sherry's from Tyler, Texas. Nice. Layla, hello to you, Layla. And Lillian, what's up to you? Yeah, you know, I have my reasons why I did what I did, and I will never tell you those reasons, some of the things I say, and they're on my own personal notes. So know that my rants have some sort of some sort of string method to the madness to all of it, right? So saying that, I guess that's my forecast for the week. I what else did I wrote here? It's funny. Oh, I did. Oh. All right. I didn't want to let this one go. Okay. This is technical. Okay. This is technical. Okay. This is what I wanted to also show you something. Here's an ephemeris listing. I was like, oh, Mars eventually is going to go through Cancer, go into Leo, and it's going to go into Virgo. When is Mars and Virgo going to hit the 23-degree point here where this eclipse is? And that's what I was looking at last night. And it is, also for those out there, it is the week. It's the end of July. We get the Mars and Virgo transit that gets closer and closer to the second decan and later decan, third decan of, you know, the 20-degree, the 10 to 20, 20 to 29 thing is when Mars will hit there. And this is another type of point for people to understand who are affected by these eclipses, is this particular type of stuff. Okay. So saying that, hey, Lisa from PDX, that's where I am right now, at least temporarily here. So I wanted to mention the Mars and Virgo transit, and I would make notes on that one. What else do I say? It's what do I do? I'm at the 122 mark of my stream, and I don't want to go too long today. And let's pull a card. We're pulling back to our deck that we use on this thing, to our Delphic Oracle cards deck, which is, God, this deck. I got a couple decks to show you in the next couple streams. One I picked up on Australia. An interesting conversation I had with somebody there who had the gleam in their eyes. You know what I mean? Like, had that thing going on in their eyes where you're like, thank you, I'm glad I ran into you. And that's for another time. But let's do a shuffle out of these Delphic Oracle deck, and then I have to take care of myself and prepare myself for a week here that's ahead. I want to thank everybody who's joined in on the stream tonight, wherever you are. Thanks for the super chats. Angela just threw a super chat at me. I want to say thank you, Angela. Thanks for the reminder. You got it, Angela. And if you could see it here, there's a Saturn glyph there. Yeah, the Saturn glyph. Saturn glyph. Is that my next tattoo? Saturn glyph. Saturn. Chronos. I pick Chronos. I'm Chronos today. Yeah. I think I'm Mercury and Chronos. I think I gotta laugh at this. I gotta laugh at this super chat that James just threw in here. Hey, Angie, how are you? Good to see you, by the way. I'm just seeing some friend of mine in chat that just jumped in. James says, have a boring week, y'all. That is funny. That's a t-shirt, isn't it? I'm working on that, by the way. It's a goal for me. And I'm going to have merch on this channel, if you can believe it. I'm coming up with some stuff. That actually could be a bumper sticker right there. Have a boring week. I don't know. We'll put a planetary glyph next to that sentence. Danny says, was thinking if I were an astrologer, I'd be ranting too. Go right ahead. Rant away, my friends. All right, let's pick this card out of this big old deck. So, yeah, no more. I'm looking at the chat right now. I am picking this right. I don't look at this. All right, Nicholas, you did a stream. You haven't done one in a while because you've been dealing with other parts of life. You pulled this off. Good job, Nicholas. Good work. And we got a great, interesting week of transits. Mercury definitely plays its role as trickster, and we got to remember that. And Saturn gives us the reality, the true mirror of what's going on. And everybody else has their say and way. And then we go backwards with some planets, and we play the game. But we know what's going on during the game, so when things get heavy or whatever, we step out and know why we do what we do, and we remember the bigger vision of things. And later, when the planets move back and forth and they kick into Aries again after the retrogrades, our instinct and our will take action, and we are clear at those points. So let us pull a card, and here we go. So saying that, clear. Live together meekly. Number 91. And while I look that up, number 91, we will look at KP 1231 with the super chat. Whoa, thank you. They say, thank you, Nicholas. Also, really appreciate the impromptu shorts you do during the week. Yeah, more is on the way. I've been doing those. Some of the ones I put up on my IG are going up on my shorts. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. You'll know when I go live. Let's read what Live Together Meekly is, and a Orphic Delphic Oracle something, number 91. Living in community with others is the greatest gift. For what good is all wealth in the world when you're alone? When you have no loved ones, no one who respects you or cares about you? If you're able to share, you will find a community, and your life will have meaning far beyond just enriching yourself. That does not necessarily need to be meek, but it puts the emphasis that we should create togetherness first and foremost, since we are humans and quote unquote social animals. Whoa, to the arrogant loner who thinks only of himself, for he who lives only for himself will always be poor despite all the riches of the world, while those who have one another are rich, and may they even live meekly. There's a liar. And Mercury did steal that Scorpio 6. It's interesting, that card, if you really think about it, what I just read, if we look politically, what's going on out there, you could have everything. You could have billions. You could buy your way into the government or crush a union. You could do all types of things like that and say it's for the good of everybody. But it's never enough, right? For the loner. It seems that they have everything. But if you think about it, they're only doing what they're doing because of a black, dark hole in their heart. And it doesn't matter how much money or resources or manipulation, it never fills up the hole. Think about that. So know, whether it's here on the stream, you in your place with your crew, in the world, in your community, in your groups, the things you say, the acknowledgement of each other in community, that can never be purchased or replicated. That interaction of acknowledgement and appreciation of each other can never be replicated or bought, no matter how much money one has. They think they can do it. They can manipulate and put people into groups and stuff, and it seems that way. But they can never package it up and put it in a bottle to sell. Soon, as I said on this channel, while you trust yourself, preparing yourself, and lining it up, we'll have our moments, our glory, the priceless glory. Then we're unstoppable, right? I want to say thank you to everybody joining on the stream. Be good to you this week. I see, again, I'm really appreciative of the community that I have that I'm building. And you guys are always good in chat, okay? So saying that, I hope you have a good week. I might be slow with some of the things I'm working on because of what I have to deal with next couple of weeks. But I do have my schedules open for sessions and all that. I might pull some interesting, more environmental videos on the fly that I put up. They're 5 or 6 minutes long that I can do. So there's that, and the insights are going to come. Obviously, I have a Patreon, or you can join a channel member here, and I got a bigger list. So saying that, I'm looking at chat here. I will say thanks to everybody to your comments here. All right. And until next time, you owe it to you to do what you